Oh.
Yes, we have Thomas Lane, we have Ellen Chandler, we have Vivian Winterhoff and Pam Sullivan, and we're all doing our social distancing as we're producing this meeting tonight. This is a new and exciting type of venture for us to do because typically we do these in large groups and big rooms. So we look forward to taking you all through this process this evening. So, all right, welcome. We'll be starting at 6 p.m. Promptly at 6 p.m. We're at 5:59 as I watch my Mac. So we'll be starting soon.
Do you want our names? Or don't you care?
We will be getting those from you as we go.
Okay. Yep.
Yes. Yep. Okay. Okay. All right. All right. Good evening, everybody. It's 6 o'clock, and we're going to get started. I'm just going to give you a quick welcome and introduce you to the team. I'm Pam Sullivan, and introducing my team we have Ellen Chandler, who will be doing all the whiteboarding through this process. We have Thomas Lane, who is helping us produce this. We have Vivian Winterhoff, who's co-producing this, and you have me, who will be leading you through these questions. Tom's going to provide you with the ground rules for this, and then what we will do is we'll get started. The other thing I want to let you all be aware of, after this meeting tonight, tomorrow, these questions will be on the discoverbethlehemnh.com website. And if you didn't feel you were able to really answer the questions succinctly this evening, you'll be able to do it on that platform. Okay, so right now, Tom is kind of going to run you through the ground rules, and then I'm going to start with my part. Thank you very much. Tom?
Thanks, Pam. Hey, folks, my name is Thomas Lane, and I'm going to take a few moments to explain how to use the Zoom online meeting platform. Just a quick recap, there are two methods of joining in on this meeting tonight. Option 1 was to call in directly to the meeting on a landline or a cell phone, and option 2 was to join in on a computer and use a computer headset or microphone to talk with us tonight. And just a quick reminder that this meeting is being recorded, so we can use future reference. We do ask that you please mute your microphone throughout the duration of the meeting when not speaking in order to create a distraction-free environment for all participants of the meeting. Now, if you do wish to comment at all tonight or ask a question, please do unmute your device. There are two ways of doing this. First, if you are joining this meeting via a computer and using a computer microphone to chat with us tonight, simply hover your mouse over the Zoom application and press the unmute button located on the lower left of the screen. Alternatively, you're also able to press the Alt key and the A key at the same time to unmute and mute your device. Now, if you're calling into the meeting tonight via the telephone or cell phone, just simply press the star and the 6 button at the same time to mute and unmute your device. Once again, just press star and 6 to mute and unmute your device. If you do lose connection to the meeting tonight and need to rejoin, just simply redial the call-in number listed above and enter the meeting ID when prompted. Or visit discoverbethlehemnh.com and click the text on the top of the page to rejoin on a computer.
Okay, I got that.
Now, we had hoped to be in Town Hall, but that's not the way it rolls this spring. So thank you for joining in this virtual meeting with us. I think by the end of this pandemic, we will be all experts at virtual meetings, and maybe some of you already are. But to get started, I can see there are a good amount participating here tonight with us, either online or over the phone. To get started tonight and to kind of go over the format that we'll be holding this, we're going to practice a few questions. Let's see here. Putting my screen back up. Okay. Now, first of all, how many people are in attendance are primary residents of Bethlehem, New Hampshire? If your first name is between the letters A and E, please say your name now.
Carol?
Bruce.
Okay, thank you for responding. Dan. Excellent. Now, if your first name is between the letters F and I, please say your name.
But I'm muted.
Hillary.
Yeah, Hillary. Hillary, I'm muted.
It's not on mute.
No, it's not on.
Someone has to say something, right?
Hillary.
Yep. Yeah, thank you, Hillary. Next up is J to N. So if your first name is between J and N, please say your name now.
Kim?
Margaret.
Jamie.
Kim, Margaret, and Jamie. Thank you. And then the letters O to T, please say your name now.
Stephen?
John.
I heard Stephen, Sean, and then somebody else. Did you catch that, Ellen?
Not on the list.
Okay. We'll go on to the next one.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. Then letters U to Z, please say your name now. Okay, cool. In addition, if you are not, on to the next question. If you are not a resident of Bethlehem but work in the town of Bethlehem, please say your first name if you are between the letters of A and E. Okay, if your first name is between F and I, and you are not a resident of Bethlehem but work in the town of Bethlehem, please say your name now. All right, we'll go on to J to N. Please say your name now. All right, letters O to T, please say your name now if you are not a resident of Bethlehem but work in the town of Bethlehem. All right, and then letters U to Z, please say your name now.
So to clarify, was there no one who is not, is everyone lives in Bethlehem, or no one doesn't live in Bethlehem? Is that correct?
I don't believe I heard any no. So.
Okay.
All right, on to our last question for this portion. How many folks in attendance have Bethlehem as a second home? Once again, if your first name is between A and E, please say your name now.
I think you could just have them say.
All right, if your first name is between F and I, please say your name now. Letters J to N, if that is what your first name lies in, please say your name now. Letters O to T, please say your name now. U to Z, please say your name now. Excellent, all right. So it looks like there was none there either, Ellen.
Okay.
All right, thank you all very much for joining me in for this quick exercise. I want to thank you all once again, and I'm going to pass it back over to Pam.
Hi there. Thank you very much, guys. What we're going to do is I'm going to be asking specific questions. Take the time you need to answer it. Take up to 30 seconds. We're going to try to stick with our hour here that we have allocated for this, but we do want to make sure we capture information. So the first question that I have, and we're going to do this scenario running through the alphabet, just because you guys are on different platforms. Some of you are on telephones and some of you are on the screen sharing. We just wanted to make sure that if you had any confusion with using this platform, that you had the opportunity to speak. So I'm going to go through this, and so this first question is going to be for the people through A through E. And so think about this for a couple minutes. So how do you describe Bethlehem to friends from away? We're kind of talking about what is something called an elevator speech, a way to quickly explain Bethlehem to someone who's never been here. You might meet them in another place you've been to or something. So let's start with those people who are through A through E. And if you could speak one at a time. I see that we have Carol. Carol, do you want to go and tell us what your response is, please?
Sorry, I had to get unmuted.
Yeah, the unmuting's going to take a minute, and I'm going to let you have time to unmute. So the last thing I want you to do, because we're living in a world right now that we're anxious about everything, please let's have fun with this, and let's have a few laughs tonight and enjoy this experience. So go ahead, Carol, go for it.
So I guess not as much for friends, but with, I do this a lot with guests who call who are trying to decide to stay in Bethlehem or over in the North Conway area at a B&B.
Mhm.
And the way I explain it to them is that we are the quiet side of the Notches. We don't have the traffic. We don't have as many people fighting to get into the restaurants, but we have excellent restaurants, great outdoor trails, and it's much more peaceful here than in Conway.
Okay, great. That's awesome. Thank you so much. Okay, so I have Cheryl. What is your response? So Tom, can you tell us how to mute and unmute again?
Yep. Oh, can you hear me? Okay.
Yep.
If you're using the computer, just hover over the Zoom app towards the bottom. You should see the mute button on the bottom there, the unmute or mute button. If you're using a telephone, press star and 6 to unmute. Once again, that's star and
Cheryl.
6.
Okay. I don't know if we have Cheryl. Do we have Chris?
You do indeed.
Okay, Chris. What is your answer?
I guess I describe it as a small, friendly town with great recreational opportunities.
Okay. Anything additional to that?
No, I think that's a good summary.
Okay. Then we have Dan. What is your response?
Okay, can you hear me?
We can.
Okay, one of the highest taxed towns in the area. You have to go to another town if you really want something. Like Littleton is probably the town where you'd go to get things, shopping and things like that. The downtown area looks very disjointed, but it's colorful.
Okay. Anything else?
People are basically friendly.
Okay, that's good. Okay. Great. Do we have anybody else in the A through E category that would like to respond? Okay, we're going to go F through I. So I think we have Hillary in that category. Hillary, what do you think?
Okay, I would explain Bethlehem as a small town, very, very friendly. It's becoming very vibrant, and it has a wonderful colonial theater where you can get amazing shows.
Okay, great. Do we have anybody else in the F through I category? I guess not. Okay, the J through L. I see we have Jamie on the line. Jamie, what do you think?
I always tell everybody that it has everything you need. It has a coffee shop, a movie theater, and a yoga studio.
That's great. Anything else?
Just that every time I leave to go anywhere, I get to see a couple of people that I know.
That's great.
Mhm.
Okay, great. Kim, what is your response?
It has kind of an eclectic vibe. I think because there are so many different opportunities in town, whether it's the brewery, the coffee shop, the movie theater, the yoga. There's just so many different things. And then there's also all the recreational opportunities outside with the new bike trail and hiking.
Great. Is there anybody else in the J through L category who we've missed? Okay. O through T. I see we have Sean on the line. Sean, can you tell us your thoughts, please?
What happened to the M's?
Oh my goodness, I am sorry. I did. Yeah, I lost the M there. That is right. Sorry. Okay. All right. So, yes, I went through. Yes. So we want to have the M's through the T's. M. Anybody with an M?
Margaret.
Margaret. Okay, great.
I don't want to duplicate. I think what other people have said, I would mostly agree with. I would say that Bethlehem has a very unique and interesting history, and it's something that people can get some idea of just walking through, seeing the mostly the empty sites, but still it has a very interesting history in terms of the grand hotels. And Kim stole my word with the eclecticness. I would say that I agree with that. Some interesting antique stores as well, and 2 golf courses. You know, 2 18-hole golf courses. That's quite unusual. And if people are thinking longer term, an excellent elementary school and regional high school. So.
Okay. Okay, any other M's I missed here? Sorry, M's.
It would be
All
the
right.
M's.
Okay, so we're looking at the O through T's, and I have Sean. What is your response?
Hey Pam, how are you?
Good.
Pretty much everything that everybody said. I mean, you know, I explained, I moved up here 14 years ago, and it's the community at large that has kept me here, and I have no interest of ever going anywhere else. I love the businesses. I plug those. I usually plug all the hotels, the recreational opportunities. Of course, I shamelessly plug my show. You know, it really is just a wonderful place to live.
Okay, great. Stephen, what is your response? Okay. Okay. If we're not getting Stephen, that's fine. So do we have anybody else in the M through T category? All right. So hang on a second. We might have, do we have anybody we've missed who would like, I think we have Carl. Have you just joined us?
I guess this thing worked.
Okay. Tom, can you explain how it works, please, again?
Yep, just a quick reminder, if you need to unmute yourself, if the audio's not going in, and you're using a computer, just hover over the Zoom application. On the bottom left is a mute and unmute button. Otherwise, if you're calling in on a telephone, just press star and 6 to unmute and mute.
Oh.
We were able to hear you.
Okay.
We're speaking now, so.
Yeah, we just about heard you, Carl. So if you... Okay, if there's anybody else that we're looking for comments, I guess we'll move on to the next question then. If you have a new guest from out of town, where do you take them? Where do you suggest they explore? So I'm going to start again. I'm going to start at the top, and I'm going to start with Carol. Can you please answer that question? If you have a new guest from out of town, where do you take them, or where do you suggest they explore? So Carol, could you answer that question, please?
Sure. So certainly we try and keep them local for the restaurants. Reckless, Cold Mountain is one of our favorites. And Rosa's, we take friends and family to all of those. As far as exploring goes, if they're interested in, if it's the winter time and they want to go snowshoeing, we send them up to the rocks to snowshoe there. If they're looking for shopping, we send them up to Wren and the little stores on Main Street. Most of the times they will wander up to Littleton because there's more opportunities for them. And summertime hiking, you know, most people are heading over to Franconia Notch.
Okay, great. Okay. So Chris, what is your response?
I'd recommend Coal Mountain, the Colonial, and for outdoor activities, either winter or summer, send them over to pretty much anywhere in the White Mountains that happens to match up with their abilities.
Okay, great. Cheryl, not sure if you're on, if you want to respond, or you in?
I can't tell if I'm unmuted.
You're unmuted now. We've got you. Go ahead.
I don't really have anything to add to that, but if I could add to number 1, because now I know what I've done wrong here in muting, unmuting.
Okay.
I describe Bethlehem as quirky, Q-U-I-R-K-Y.
Okay.
And then the same thing that everybody said about for the question number 2.
Okay, great. Okay, so great. So Dan, what is your response to this question?
Littleton and the Notch.
Okay. Great. Okay, that's Dan. So Carl, are you able to get in now? Okay, we'll move on to the F through I's, and we have Hillary. What is your response to this question? If you have a new guest from out of town, where do you take them? Where do you suggest they explore?
We usually take them to the local outdoor attractions. We'll take them to the restaurants in Bethlehem, but also the other towns. If it's a summer, we'll usually take them to the concert down in Bethlehem. Are
you talking about on the green at the bandstand?
Correct.
Okay.
And if they have children and we can work it, we'll take them to the children's programs at the library and things like that.
Okay, great. Thank you. Jamie, what's your response?
Hiking in the White Mountains or other places nearby, and the Colonial Theater.
Okay. Kim, what's your response?
Usually, a lot of our friends have already heard of Chudder's before they come up here. So it's usually a place
Yeah.
that they want to go visit in Littleton, but we like, I love Maya's, so we often go there for breakfast. And then hiking in Brettsfelder is always a good thing that we like to do as well.
Okay, great. Margaret, what's your response?
My response is to stay right on my own property and take them on a walk down into the woods, nice long walk, and circle around and come back through another tour, another path, and there's always plenty to see and listen to, and it's available for unleashed dogs, which is one of the big attractions. A lot of people who visit us have dogs, so all the dogs can be out unleashed here on Cherry Valley. I mean, not on the road,
great.
but in the valley.
Yeah. Okay. Great. I wonder if so. I'm going to keep going, and we might have some new people who've joined in. So I'll make sure I'll get all of you as well. So Sean, what's your answer?
Let's see. I mean, I usually try to set them up at one of the local hotels in Bethlehem and stuff so they can at least experience that, get to know some of the people. I always recommend Cold Mountain Reckless. If there's any shows at the Colonial, I mean, I try to keep them in town as much as possible. You know, and then of course, you know, anything over and above that's not offered in the town, of course, you know, I find something Littleton, you know, Franconia, whatever, you know, gazebo concerts, Summerfest. I have a whole group of people now that comes up for Christmas in Bethlehem. So, you know, and of course, you know, I'm always dragging them up to my show now.
There you go. Okay, great. Thank you. Not sure if Stephen was able to join us or, okay. So are there some people here who have not answered the questions yet? Because we went through some names in the beginning who have recently joined us. If you have, just say your name and then let's get a response from you. Any new joiners who have not answered this question? Okay, I'm going to move on. Thank you very much. This is a two-part question. What brought you to Bethlehem and why do you stay here? So I'm going to start first with Carol. What brought you to Bethlehem and why do you stay?
So my husband and I picked Bethlehem to build our bed and breakfast for two reasons in Bethlehem. The schools, because we knew they'd be going all the way through the end of high school, and the proximity to the Cog Railway and both notches.
Okay, great, thank you. Cheryl, what brought you here?
I will leave that for Chris to answer.
Okay, Chris, what brought you here?
How very sweet of you. What brought us here is that my godmother's family has lived here for about 160 years, and we would come up and visit, not for the entire 160 years, but we grew to love the town and the recreational opportunities, and of course, being close to her.
Great, thank you. Dan, what brought you here?
Specifically, I needed some property that I could park my equipment, and it wasn't specifically Bethlehem. It just happened to be that this piece of property had that availability. So at the time, I didn't realize how high the taxes were. So if I could find another piece of property that was in a lower tax area, I'd probably move there.
Okay, so that kind of gives you our second part of that, and why do you stay here? Because you can't find a place somewhere else to move to with a lower tax rate. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, all right. Thank you, Dan. Okay, Hillary, can you answer this question for us, please?
My parents, my aunt and uncle all lived here, and so I was here earlier on. My husband and I met each other while we were up here. He's from Massachusetts, and we were transferred down south, other parts in the country, but we always knew that this is where we wanted to come to retire. And so as soon as we retired, we moved back.
Great. Thank you. Jamie, can you answer this question? Oh, okay, we'll move on to Kim. Oh, Jamie, are you there?
Yes, you can't hear me?
Okay, great. Go ahead.
I moved here a year ago from Pennsylvania to manage Balance Bethlehem. And the reason I'm still here is because of basically my answer to question number one. Because of the people that I've met, and I just really love living in this small town.
Great. Thank you so much. Kim, what is your response?
We moved here as our daughters were getting a little bit older for the school system, specifically Profile. And we also, and we've stayed because we found a piece of property that, despite the killer taxes, has an incredible view. And it's off the beaten path. We're half a mile off the main road. And I love that. We can have our own animals. It's, you know, it's peaceful. So we like that.
Great. Thank you. Margaret, what's your answer?
I am not an absolute native of this area, but pretty close. So I have lived in a lot of years in Littleton, then in Franconia, Sugar Hill, and finally I found a house in Bethlehem that I could afford to buy. And I spent, 15 years there or so. And all the time I was looking for a piece of property that was a little bit further away from a main road, and I found this property on Cherry Valley and got, put myself in a position where I was able to build a timber frame home down here and garden to my heart's delight. And that's why I'm here.
Great, thank you. Sean, can you give us your answer, please?
Let's see, I moved here. We were doing dead and fish tour, and we cut through. And on our way back home, decided this is where we wanted to live. Went back down to Boston, sold everything we had, closed our businesses, and moved up here. And I've been here ever since. I mean, I wouldn't even consider moving. I've raised my youngest son here for the last 13 years, and I wouldn't want to raise him anywhere else.
Great, thank you. Is there anybody who has not answered this question? Okay, great. All right, so we have been brainstorming lists of all things there are to do in Bethlehem, and we've categorized them in generally as outdoor recreation, arts and culture, dining and takeout, shopping, and also personal services. I want to go through them category by category, starting with outdoor recreation. So here we go. So they're starting with Carol. what kind of outdoor recreation do you take part in here in Bethlehem or nearby Bethlehem?
So hiking, snowshoeing. My kids ski, so we don't, or I don't, but they do. And we ride our bikes over on the Franconia bike path.
Okay, great. Cheryl?
Hiking, snowshoeing, in the past, downhill and cross-country skiing, but those two not so much anymore.
Okay. Chris?
Exactly what you said, and add kayaking.
Okay, great. Okay, cool. Dan?
Hiking, but not necessarily in this area. I like to ride to other places and walk around there.
Okay. Okay, Hillary, what's your answer?
Hiking, snowshoeing, bike riding, and just walking different trails too.
Okay. Jamie, what's your answer?
Hiking, mostly in the whites, or walking around town.
Okay. Kim?
Hiking, snowshoeing, and kayaking.
Okay. Margaret?
Okay. Long ago, I was a very aggressive downhill skier, but I don't do that anymore. So let's see, swimming, walking, snowshoeing, gardening. I think that's about, bird watching and stuff like that. But
Okay, great. Thank you. Sean?
I'm actually pretty boring compared to all these people out. I go fishing occasionally when I have some time. I like walking some of the older railways around, town and the outskirts of town and stuff like that, like around the Wing Road area and all that. But for the most part, outdoor activities, I just don't do a lot of them. Sorry.
Okay.
I failed you.
All right. Did I? Okay. Well, no, you didn't fail us. Just, hey, anybody I missed?
Pam?
Okay.
Pam?
Yeah?
It's Cheryl. You said have some fun with this.
Yeah?
I like to sit outside on the deck with a glass of wine, and when the weather gets nice.
it was nice today, Cheryl.
Yeah, well, not that nice. I went for a walk.
That sounds good to me. I guess if you want to put, I have a new fire pit. I'd like to have my fire pit going. So there you go.
This, Hillary, I
sounds
second
good.
that. And outdoor movies.
Oh, and outdoor movies. Okay,
Oh, yeah.
Cool. Sure. Okay, outdoor movies. Like that. Yep. Sounds good. Okay, our next question is, what kinds of arts and cultural activities do you take part in or attend here in Bethlehem or nearby? So, think about the surrounding towns. So, Carol, let's start with you.
Okay, I'm not a good one for this because most of it's on weekends and we're running the B&B. So I don't get to take part in any of the cultural activities in town.
Okay,
But my guests
Carol,
do.
what's your...
My
Okay, your
guests do.
do.
We
So what
send,
do you...
yeah, they go to the Colonial. If they're here early enough on Friday nights, they'll do the Friday art nights. But the vast majority of my guests are all younger, outdoor adventure people. We don't have the older crowd except during leaf peeping.
Okay, great. Okay, Cheryl, what about you?
Colonial, Wren, gazebo concerts. I think that's it.
Okay. Chris?
Excuse me, First Friday at Wren and 42 Maple and the Colonial.
Okay, great. Dan?
I've enjoyed taking in the plays at the Wind Vane, and also like the string quartets up at that big hotel up there outside of Whitefield.
Oh, the Mountain View Grand?
Mountain View Grand.
Yeah, that was. That's about all I can think of.
Okay. All right. Hillary, what's your response?
We do the Colonial, the gazebo concerts. We do go to the local playhouses. We enjoy the Pine Hill Singers. We've been to the concerts at the Jewish synagogue. We're pretty Boston Pops. We'll sort of go wherever something attracts us.
Okay. All right, cool. Jamie?
Mostly the Colonial Theater. I've been to Wren. I haven't had an opportunity to check out the gazebo concert yet, or 42 Maple, but I hoped.
Okay. Margaret? I'm sorry, Kim. Sorry, Kim?
Yeah, so the Colonial, I've done a lot of the First Fridays. I love the gazebo concerts. Let's see, there was something else I was thinking of. I've been to some of the concerts too that are up in the park at Remick Park. And also some of the shows that have been put on at the Opera House in Littleton. And yes, there is the Weather Vane Theater too that we usually try to get to during the summer.
Okay. And Margaret, what's your response?
Over the years, I've gone to many of the North Country Chamber Players concerts. I certainly go to the Colonial whenever I can. There's a big range there of film and live performance, which is, really remarkable. First Fridays, both places, both galleries. Whenever there's a contra dance, I like to do those. And some Shin Jim Roshu, or whatever the thing for Japanese forest bathing, and meditation at Balance. I think that's an art and cultural activity.
Okay, great. Okay, Sean.
Let's see. I like the events at 42 Maple. I haven't made it over to Wren recently, but would like to start checking it out again. Summerfest I like. Christmas in Bethlehem, the gazebo concerts. Whenever there's a local, if there's an exhibit or something, like when they have them over at Maya's, I'll go to those. Some of the local concerts too at the at Reckless. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff to do.
Great. Okay. So the next question I have, think of shops and services available here in Bethlehem. Which of them do you make use of? So let's kind of start at the top. Carol, so what shops might you visit, or what service may you use here in Bethlehem?
So for shops, I've purchased some things in Wren. There aren't that many shops in town, so let's see. I have to think all through them. Well, certainly the little Bethlehem Village store.
Mm-hmm.
And I have stopped in when I've forgotten stuff. If I'm uptown in Littleton shopping, I've stopped in Dollar General and lucked out and didn't have to go back to Littleton. So
Okay. Cheryl, what's your response?
We've gone to Wren and the bookstore, Binoct, whatever. We went to Ben Wu's Donut Place, and keeping with the healthy theme, hot dogs and fudge. Mountain Winds, of course, the restaurants, the Village Grocery, we pretty much go everywhere. Not so much the antique stores because we have more than enough stuff in our house. So.
Okay. Chris.
Yeah, I think Cheryl covered it pretty well, and particularly the idea that we can't be too careful about our health.
Okay. All right. Dan, what's your response?
I have probably eaten at a restaurant downtown one time, but I wasn't a resident here at the time. I've frequented the, I don't know if you call it the pizza place or whatever it's called, the store there, several times after a selectmen's meeting to get a sandwich. But other than that, it's mostly outside of Bethlehem. I do very little in Bethlehem.
Okay. Hillary, what's your response?
Okay, so we've shopped at the Wren, Coal Mountain Cafe, the Village Store, Reckless, the flooring place, My Papaya, Pure Energy Hair Salon. Oh, where else? Rosa Flamingo, the library, and of course the post office, which is a great post office, I should say. I think that's about it. I'm sure I've forgotten something. I have been to the dollar store, and we used to do the Christmas shop up at the tree farm. Which one? Rocks. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, great. Thank you. Okay, Jamie.
Maya Papaya, Cold Mountain, and the Village Store.
Okay. Kim.
The Village Store is great if I need something quick. Love Yarn Shop. I enjoy that, going there, and I've done some classes there before. I enjoy the summer when Rosa's has the outside open. We go there often. Maya's is another place that I also go often.
Okay. All right, Margaret.
Well, I won't repeat everything that other people have said, but I would say that I enjoy Lars Schick's nursery. He has, pretty much next to the movie theater, he has a very interesting selection of plants there. And I'd put another vote in for the secondhand bookstore. And we do have a hair cutting place in town. That's handy. And the library and the post office, as Hillary said, they certainly deserve and get my patronage.
Okay, great. Sean, what are your responses?
Besides all the places that I mentioned, I also I like Lonesome Woods.
Oh, yeah, me
I think
too.
they're fantastic. The bookstore. It's actually, I'm hard pressed to find a business in Bethlehem I haven't been into. I love the Wayside Inn. You know, the food's fantastic. I've stayed there a couple times. Yeah, I go far for vacations. Um, yeah, I told you, pretty boring life. The Rusty Bucket's great. I mean, you've got the Adair down there, which is fantastic. I every Christmas get my trees from Finnegan's.
Hey.
Okay, great. Okay, great. Ellen, I'm going to do a little skipping around here. We're going to go to question 7, Ellen, just because of the time where we're at. So the next question is, in the town master plan, many people identified small town feel was important to them. If this resonates with you, what does it mean to you? What benefit does small town feel provide you with? Let's start with Carol.
For us, it was the kids growing up in a community that offered smaller classes, and you pretty much knew all of the parents in the school system and at sporting events.
Okay,
So,
great. Cheryl.
Small town to me means things like more wide open spaces, sense of community, although I have to admit that we came from a high-rise condo in Cleveland, Ohio, and we found a sense of community there as well. But, and you know, no big box stores. I think individuality, that kind of thing.
Okay, great. Chris.
I think to me, the small town means that there's a really good chance whenever you go out that somebody's going to wave or smile or say hello. And that there's a sense of sort of a shared value and a sense of being.
Great, thank you. Dan, what is your
Pam,
response?
can I
Yes.
go back?
Of
One
course.
of the things
Don't let her.
Chris said about people waving to you. A few years ago, we were out shoveling snow, and we had nieces and nephews from New York City, and we were on Lewis Hill Road, and cars were driving by, not that many, but whatever, and people were waving. So one of our little nephews said, "Why are all these people waving at us?" Because he was from New York City. People don't wave in New York City.
Oh, that's funny. Wow, that's great.
But that's it.
Wow. Okay, good. Chris, are you done?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Dan, what about you?
I like, I've always lived in the country away from cities, away from towns. So Bethlehem being a small town is not a draw. If I'm going to do shopping or things like that, I like to go to a big town where everything is. I just like to live away from town, which I've done.
Okay, great, thank you. Hillary.
I like the fact that when I go into Bethlehem, I pretty well always see someone I know, and people can know my name. Now, I may be scratching my head trying to remember who they are, but you know, someone's saying, "Hello, Hillary." And it just makes you feel very welcome and warm.
Great, thank you. Jamie.
Definitely seeing someone I know every time I go outside. But to me, it's also important that there are no chain stores, there's no traffic light, there's no, it just overpopulation of businesses. Not to say that having businesses here it's wonderful. I'm just saying that to remain a small town feel, that would be my preference, especially chain businesses.
Okay, Kim, what's your response?
I think a small town feel would be, like me being able to go to the post office and visit with the people that work there. It's a sense of community and extended family. And I think we've seen a lot of that lately just with this virus. A lot of people are looking out for each other.
Great, thank you. Margaret?
Yes. What's important to me for Bethlehem to continue to be a small town feel, we have a small town feel, is to have most of the businesses locally owned. I think that's very valuable, that the people who own the businesses are residents or near residents of this area. I am not a fan of the Dollar General or stores like it, but I just feel that as much local investment and local staffing that we can get is a plus. And I forgot to mention the mechanic, the wonderful mechanic that we have in town when we were talking about services.
I second that.
Okay, great, thank you. Okay.
And I'm going to sign off.
Okay, thank you, Margaret. So if you could go online and answer the rest of the questions, that'd be great. Okay, Sean, what is your response?
I mean, Chris and Kim really put it, greatly and stuff. I mean, it's a town where people are approachable, in a way that it's very friendly and stuff. And they make you feel like, it's extended family. I agree with I don't want to see a lot of big corporate box stores. And I believe that the businesses in town having small business community is really a strength. It really is just that nice, relaxed, comfortable feeling up here. You always feel home, like you're home.
Great, thank you very much. So we have a couple, we're right now at 5 minutes to 6, but I have 2 marketing questions that I really would appreciate if you guys could stay on, that I feel are pretty important. So these are if you had 3 words to describe Bethlehem, what would they be? If you don't feel you have enough time now, you can certainly, these questions will be up on the website and you can answer those questions then. So 3 words, I'm going to start with Carol. Do you have 3 words that you think could describe Bethlehem?
Historic, quaint, it's going to be more than 3 words, but
no, if you got 2, we'll take.
Well, centrally, the third one is its location, central to all of the things in the notches.
Okay, great. Central location. Okay, Cheryl, what are your 3 words?
Well, I only have 2 right now.
That's okay. We'll take them.
I'll go back to my quirky and outdoorsy.
Okay, great. Chris?
I'd steal quirky, friendly, and fun.
Okay, great. Dan?
2 spelled T-O-O, high taxes.
Okay. All right, we got you, Dan. Hillary, what do we got?
Friendly, helpful, and fresh air.
Okay, great. Thank you. Jamie?
Definitely friendly. I'm struggling to come up with anything else that's just not a normal word. So
that's okay. If you get anything else, add it in.
Thanks.
Kim?
Eclectic, friendly, and scenic.
Okay, great. Sean?
I don't know. There's a lot to like about Bethlehem. I would definitely go with the friendly part of things. I like the scenic. And it really is a fun town.
Okay, friendly, scenic, and fun. We got fun again. Okay, great. Thank you. All right, so here's another one. This is another kind of marketing type of thing. One of the things we're going to be tasked with is to come up with a logo. And I'm not asking you to design a logo, but kind of think of what might be some of the images that are symbolic to Bethlehem, and also maybe some of the colors that you think would represent it. So Carol, let's what do you think a good image would be? And what do you think some good colors may be?
For colors, I would say greens and natural colors.
Mm-hmm.
And
okay.
Images, what were you referring to? Like a snapshot of Bethlehem?
A mountain, a church steeple, a golf course, whatever.
I would say more of a mountain in the views.
Okay.
Golf is very limited.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Cheryl, any colors or images you can think of?
I would have to ditto what Carol said.
Okay, Chris.
I think Mount Washington, maybe a moose here or there.
Okay, Dan.
Green because of the trees, and small town picturesque, which it will always be. It's unfortunately not going to change.
Okay. All right. Hillary.
Fall colors and snow-capped mountains.
Okay.
That's not.
All right, Jamie.
Sky blue and white, the view of Jefferson as you come into town.
Okay. Okay, Kim.
Yeah, that actually what Jamie just said, that view of the mountains when you come into town is one of my favorites. And especially at night when the moon comes up, that's one of my favorites.
Boy, yeah.
That I love to take pictures of.
Okay, Sean.
Yeah, I'm with the same view there too. I mean, I don't know. I always love seeing that as you come over the hill and stuff. As far as colors go, I'm the wrong person to ask, honestly.
Okay. Okay, well, I want to be respectful of your time. It is 7 o'clock. We do have a few more questions. I would really appreciate it if you did go to Bethlehem, discoverbethlehemnh.com. We'll have the questions up there tomorrow. If you want to add anything or even email any of these things to us, we'd really appreciate it. Pass this along to friends as well. We'd love more responses. Thank you so much. This, again, was an interesting way to do this. Normally we whiteboard this stuff, but I think this worked out pretty well, considering the circumstances. And we're so lucky to have this platform, this technology that we could work with. So again, thank you from the team here. And as I mentioned, the next thing we'll be doing subgroups over the next week. So I know, Carol, there will be one that is relevant to hospitality and lodging, so please check that one out.
I will.
So the questions will be slightly different for these. So really appreciate it all, and thank you kindly. We really, really, again, thank you.
Thank you, Pam.
Thanks to all of you.
Okay, you take care.
Pam,
And
team.
Team
Thank you.
Sullivan, we'll call back in a couple minutes to just recap. Thank you.
Okay, bye.
Thanks.
Bye. Or you guys can hang on if you want.
Oh, okay. We can
Okay.
remove people too, so.
Oh, okay, great. Okay, Ellen, you still there?
Yeah, I'm here. I've been muted.
Okay, great. Okay, we're all here, so everyone's, we're removing everybody right now,